Hello and welcome to another video of mine. In this video I would like to respond to Bilal Philips.
Back in the late 80s and the beginning of the 90s, there was an individual in the US by the name of Rashad Khalifa. He was the one who claimed that he had found the mathematical miracle of the Quran, the miracle of 19. And he put together some books on the miracle of 19. One of them, the Quran, the final scripture, and a number of others, where he's arguing about the 19 being the root of the mathematical miracle of the Quran. Of course, he takes some obvious things like the basmala, consisting of 19 letters. And he takes certain chapters, like the chapter Qaf, and shows that the letter Qaf occurs in that surah a multiple of 19 times. Qaf is a short surah, and it's easy enough to calculate or to count the number of Qafs there are in the surah. But then from there he asks people to make the leap of faith to believe that Surah Al-Baqarah, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Alif, Lam, and Mim are found in the surah all multiples of 19. And when you add them all together, of course, it's all a multiple of 19. This was his claim. Now, nobody has the time to sit and try and count all the alifs in Surah Al-Baqarah, or the lams, or the memes. So they say, okay, well, based on the fact that the number of qafs in Surah Qaf, it does. We can see them and count them, and it is a multiple of 19. So therefore, we assume that the rest must be the case also.
إنه فكر وقدر فقتل كيف قدر ثم قتل كيف قدر ثم نظر ثم عبس وبسر ثم أدبر واستكبر فقال إن هذا إلا سحر يؤثر إن هذا إلا قول البشر سأصليه سقر وما أدراك ما سقر لا تبقي ولا تذر لواحة للبشر عليها 19.
Here is the good news, Mr. Phillips. With God's permission, I have succeeded in correcting the count of the alifs by comparing manuscripts from the 1st and the 2nd centuries of Islam. You, yourself, are being dishonest here, for it is naturally impossible to determine the correct number of alifs in the Hafs Quran, precisely because your Sunni scholars added alifs. Furthermore, you fail to mention that you added the letter Hamza to the Quran. This letter cannot be found in the oldest manuscripts. Let us take the word Quran from the Birmingham manuscripts. Consider the oldest manuscript. As an example, we see that in the Hafs Quran, the word is written with a Hamza, whereas in the early manuscript it is not. So a letter was added to the Quran. Even the alifs vary. Take modern Qurans, for instance, they contain different spellings. The word Salah is sometimes written with an alif and sometimes with an waw. Or the word Wahid is sometimes written with an alif and sometimes without one. Consider the word adab. It is sometimes written with an alif and sometimes without, as seen in this manuscript. Consequently, the number of alifs in the Hafs or Warsh Quran cannot be a multiple of 19 because letters have been added. However, through research into the oldest manuscripts, it is possible to determine the exact number of alifs, and we present this on the website The Criterion 786.org. There, the Quranic Mus'haf is freely accessible in its purified form, and in Phase 7 we also make the manuscript notes available for download.
And in the process, for Surah Al-Qalam, which begins with Noon, wal-qalami wa ma yasturun. Noon at the beginning by itself. People didn't notice that in the Quran which he published with this translation, he wrote the letter Noon as Noon, Waw, Noon. So the letter Noon, remember in all of the other Qurans we have the letter Noon. But in his Quran, he writes out the name of the letter Noon. Why did he do that? He did it because if you add up all of the noons in the chapter Al-Qalam, it's not a multiple of 19. It's one noon short. So he manipulated the first noon and wrote it Noon, Waw, Noon, and said, in early manuscripts, they used to write it this way. Of course, there's no early manuscript in which it's written this way at all. It was just a lie. But who knows, who amongst the common people have seen the early manuscripts?
Here Mr. Philips makes a strong point. The count of the letter Noon in Surah 68 is indeed 132, not 133. However, when Rashad wrote Noon as Noon, Waw, Noon, he never showed a manuscript. Rather, he showed regarding the letter Sad in Surah 7 verse 69. And I agree with him. There is no significant manuscript from the early centuries of Islam that writes the letter Noon as Noon, Waw, Noon. Thus, Rashad Khalifa made a mistake here. But does this mean that the total count of noons is not a multiple of 19? No, you have just to look at the different verse within the same surah. In manuscript Arab 399, the word yakshifu in verse 42 is written with a noon, rather than a ya, bringing the noon count to 133. This would be a different reading for Surah 68 verse 42. In doing so, one arrives at the correct count of the letter noon, without having to add any letters.
To know that in fact, yes, there are different writings and things were written differently and from how they're written today. So this was his claim. And of course, this is a huge step. In doing that, he actually changes the text of the Quran. This was something small actually in relationship to whatever else he came with, because by 1989, after saying that there were some false verses in the Quran, that they had to be removed. Why? Again, because they messed up with his multiplication.
As a brief postscript, I would like to add that he contradicts himself. He claims that nothing incorrect can enter the book, yet at the same time he is aware that Hamzas and Alifs have been added. The Criterion Mus'haf features 7 global locks, as you can see in the image, that protect the entire Quran. If we were to add those 2 verses on the website to criterion786.org, we would see the entire system collapse. That is why God says in the Quran, surely those who have rejected the reminder dhikr, when it came to them, and it is an honorable book, no falsehood could enter it presently or afterwards, a revelation from a most wise, praiseworthy. What is being said to you is the same that was said to the messengers before you. Your Lord has forgiveness and a painful retribution.
Story. And then he claimed, by 1989, he claimed that in fact he was a prophet of Allah. His miracle was the 19 by 1998. But in the beginning, Muslims embraced him. They loved him. They took him all over the place. Here he was. Proof, scientific proof for the miracle of the Quran.
First of all, Rashad Khalifa never claimed to be a prophet, Nabi of God. Instead, he said he was a messenger, Rasul, since God described Muhammad as the last prophet, Nabi, but not as the last messenger.
This means that the year following 1709 Hijri will be the last year of the world. The year 1710, this is a multiple of 19. As a result of his claim, one of the leading scholars of the time, Sheikh Abdullah ibn Abdul Aziz ibn Baz, wrote a fatwa declaring Rashad Khalifa to be an apostate from Islam. Anybody who makes that claim automatically puts himself in the same category.
God says the following in the Quran: messengers of whom we have narrated to you from before, and messengers we have not narrated to you. And God spoke to Moses directly. All messengers have good news, as well as warning, so that humans would not have an argument against God, after the messengers conveyed to them the guidance. God is Almighty Wise. God sends His messengers so that the disbelievers no longer have an argument. Mr. Philips had arguments against the miracle of 19, and thus against God. Yet God sent His messenger and refuted those arguments. The criterion Musaf is the Quran in its purified form. Say, it was sent down by the one who knows the secrets in the heavens and the earth. He is all-wise, forgiving, compassionate. A messenger from God reciting purified scripts. In them are valuable books. You are but a warner. We have sent you with the truth, a bearer of good news and a warner. There is not a nation, but a warner came to it. If they deny you, then those before them have also denied. Their messengers went to them with proofs, and the psalms, and the enlightening book. So perhaps you wish to ignore some of what has been inspired to you, and you are depressed by it, because they say, if only a treasure was sent down with him, or a controller, angel, had come with him. You are but a warner, and God is caretaker over all things. Or do they say, he invented it? Say, bring 10 invented chapters like it, and call on whom you can, besides God, if you are truthful. My name is Memo Elch. I am a warner and the messenger of God. With the Quran in its purified form, just as it was given to Muhammad, I confirm the message of the miracle of 19. I confirm that Rashad Khalifa was a messenger of God, and his message regarding the number 19 is the truth, just as Jesus confirmed the Torah with the Gospel, and Muhammad confirmed the scriptures with the pure Quran. I confirm the messengers who came before me with the Quran that was given to Muhammad, the criterion Musaf written in the clear Arabic tongue. Surah 61 verse 6. And when Jesus, son of Mary, said, O sons of Israel, I am a messenger of God to you, authenticating what is between my hands of the Torah, and bringing good news of a messenger to come after me, whose name will be Ahmad. But when he showed them the clear proofs, they said, this is clear magic. I also wish to state clearly that I am not a prophet, Nabi, but a messenger, Rasul.